Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Reviewing Comics with me, your host, Alexander Turbin. Today we're going to be going over Genesaga #1 by Entity Comics. But before we get into that, I'd like to show you some of my own work. This is Random Access. It's a full-size, full-color anthology that I produce every month with a bunch of other artists. And this is actually number 35, and it's me, Astor Dennison, Jeremy Duncan, Gwedick, Jamie Barrows, Doug Roberts, and Grimm. So there's a lot of fantastic artists in here, and you can get these at patreon.com/Alex Turbin for $3 a month, or you can go to the website comicscreatorsmarketplace.com. That's where you can get all kinds of other awesome artists. Excuse me. And you can pick up all kinds of cool stuff. And also, all of the random accesses will be on there. It's still a new site, so I'm still working on it. But as always, I really appreciate all of the support that you guys are giving us. One final notice is next month is Inktober, and Random Access is going to be having prompts on all of the days of Inktober. And if you do one of these prompts, then you can have your book put into Random Access. You can have your illustration or drawing or whatever put into Random Access. So do one of the prompts, tag me in it, or just let me know, or whatever. Find some way to make sure that I see it or know about it, and you'll be in the next issue of Random Access. So let's get into Genesaga. So Genesaga is it's a how would you say, Image clone, Image knockoff, Image wannabe, which is not necessarily a bad thing. A lot of people have kind of a bad feeling about Image, which I do not. I like some of the artists more than others. I think they, especially now, there's like they've really delved into a lot of different types of stories, and it's not your Image now is not the Image of the early 90s. It's gone beyond that, and they're like a real honest to God good publisher, and they've always been a good publisher. But some of the stuff that you kind of might hang on to is the Rob Liefeld stuff, and whether you like him or not, he was an impactful artist. He is an impactful artist, and Todd McFarlane and Jim Lee, and they all just they created a certain style. But I say that, but really they all had their own different style. I guess it's an overarching type of artwork that you could kind of say is Image, but they really all had their own different unique ways of doing art, and I think that is kind of missed a lot of the times, because McFarlane does not look like Jim Lee, and Jim Lee, although kind of looks like Rob Liefeld, he really kind of doesn't. And Portacio doesn't look the same. Jay Lee doesn't look the same. So they all aren't, you can't really just say an Image thing. Yes, they had certain ways of doing things, like having one big panel to kind of, show off their art and stuff. And they were really they were all about the art and not about the writing. But anyway, that is exactly what Genesaga is. So let's delve into this and see where we go. Story and art by Raf Ienco. Inco. It's Inco. I don't know. If anybody knows, please let me know, because I hate butchering artists' names. Staff assistant John Migliore. Kabuki credited by David Matt. Colors Luann McClelland. Letters David Lawrence. Editor-in-chief Don Chin. So I don't know if this says it was an offshoot of another comic company, but they had a lot of they had a lot of titles, and they really like I said, they kind of wanted to be Image. So it starts out with the New York cityscape, and I'll read a little snippet. New York, the largest city on the planet. More people live here than some entire countries. The time is now. And then you have this basketball guy, and he's playing basketball, and he's ready to dunk, or he's ready to play these other guys, and he just kind of dunks on them, and he's like showing off and kind of showing these guys what's what, and then he wins their money from, I think he was taking 3-on-1, and kind of that's how he got his money. So he's hustling him a little bit, because he's actually was a superstar college athlete, basketball player, and he was going to go on to the big times. But then he says other people had other things on their mind, and that's why they stopped him from being a big time basketball star in the NBA. Switch to 3,000 miles away, 3,000 years away. I don't know. I don't think it's 3,000 years. But it goes to ancient Japan, and we have this mystical sorcerer, and he also has some sort of technological thing. So he's like a techno mage. He actually says the words that he's a techno mage. So he has, I think he's from the future, probably not ours, but further along in the future, if he's creating time portals and stuff. So he's looking at what's going on, and I don't know if this has anything to do with the main storyline, because it kind of just ends there. But then we go to his humble servant. I'll read a little bit. So brash is this man called Jordan Phillips, and so unaware of the power he possesses. If he only knew how to access the forces inside himself, as I have done. What a curious world he lives in, Lord Abyss. Is it wise to explore such a fearsome place? Could our own time not benefit from this strange science you call technology? Silence, young Genesaga. You do not question, you obey. So Genesaga is some sort of samurai, and he is in the thrall of this techno wizard. We don't know how he became part of the techno wizard's troop or whatever in his employ. As we all know, samurai were bodyguards, and they were vassals. They were in the thrall of their overlord, and anything their overlord said they did, whether or not it was kill themselves, committing seppuku, or doing some other horrible act. And he says later on, he must obey the samurai code, even if it is something that is wrong to do. And I'm not entirely sure about that. I've read a lot of samurai works and stuff, and I don't think I ever remember a samurai feeling like he's doing something wrong and still doing it. I don't know. Anybody let me know if they know examples of it. I'm looking for specific examples, either like in the Five Rings or Musashi or something like that. You can just say what you think, but it's not really what you think. It has to have some sort of historical significance too. So the castle of the evil wizard is being broken into by this ninja, and he is going along, and there's some sort of, I don't know, guard, and the ninja makes short work of the guard, knocking him out, and then he's going up to Genesaga, and Genesaga notices him. He's trying to be stealthy and quiet and stuff, but Genesaga does find him and notices him, and he attacks him with his samurai axe. I actually had to look up whether or not samurai used axes in battle. They are called onos, and I don't know, or was it ori? I think it was an ono. There are samurai that used axes, but it doesn't really make a lot of sense. The samurai sword is so much better, but there were speared samurai, so there's that. So they're having this little fight, and the ninja is, like I said, trying to attack and kill the techno mage, and this Genesaga they're just having a little fight, and they're calling this guy is called, I can't remember what his name is. Let's see. Let's go back. His name is Threshold. So that's his name, Threshold. Funny Japanese name to have. But Threshold's trying to kill the arch techno mage, and Genesaga is trying to stop him. So they have this back and forth dialogue, kind of attacking each other verbally and physically. When who watches is this other woman who I guess has had a relationship with Genesaga, because she says her name is Dicey. So Genesaga knocks out Threshold, or he's about to knock him out, or he kind of knocks him out or something. But then, or he doesn't knock him out, I guess. But then the arch wizard is going to do some magical stuff, I guess. Open a portal to something or other. But then this Dicey punches Genesaga in the mouth, and she says this: "You're as pitiful a fighter as you are a lover, Genesaga. You stay down. You don't know what you're mixed up in." So she's kind of just giving him the lip service, and then Threshold attacks Genesaga again, and I guess Genesaga's knocked out. I guess he's knocked out, and Threshold is attacking the Archwizard, but the Archwizard is, saying his grand master plan, and he opens up another portal, and he's talking. Let's see what he says. "Behold, my genius. What you see before your primitive eyes is a doorway to the future. It is where I belong. And this pointless battle, and end this pointless battle, and join me. You're mad. We could never join you and seek only one thing, your death. Then try, fools. But first, Genesaga. I don't know. I thought that the mage made him like bigger or something, or stronger, because he kind of looks bigger than he was. But I guess he just woke up, and so he attacks Threshold and Dicey. And they just kind of have this little back and forth. Again, the dialogue: "I'm going to kill you, you're going to kill me," blah, blah, blah kind of stuff. And but Threshold actually grabs him and throws him into the portal. And the Archmage says, or the Technomage says, "Oh my, it does work." So he's not completely all powerful. He didn't really know that it was going to work. And then Dicey is very upset, because they used to be lovers, so she still probably has some feelings for Genesaga. And but Threshold says, "I'm sorry, Dicey, but fools in their lives are soon parted." So then it shows the final page of Genesaga, and he's with dinosaurs. You kind of thought that he was going to go forward in time, but he didn't. He went back in time to where the dinosaurs. And then there's a whole bunch of pinups of Kabuki. I don't know how they got, or I guess there's two. There's three. There's three pinups of Kabuki, which, as you may or may not know, I reviewed Kabuki #1, not the first series, but the second series, and I really enjoyed it. I really liked it. I thought it was way better than any Shi I've read. But then they also have some backup stuff. They have some previews of some things, and this is a pretty cool page. But like I said, it's very image inspired. So you've got all of this stuff that's image inspired going on. So that's cool. So let's talk about the writing, which is the very first thing, which really truly brings this thing down. Because as I've said, or as we've discussed, Image is light on the writing, and they're heavy on the art. That's their main focuses. So the writing, even though they have a lot of dialogue and they have a lot of narration going on, it really doesn't say anything, and what it does say, when it does say, it's not particularly entertaining. I'm not really enjoying any of the dialogue whatsoever. They kind of all talk exactly the same, and they've got no personal relationships going on that I'm interested in at all. They have the introduction of characters, and they just kind of throw things together. Like he is poetry defined and grace personified. His name is Threshold, and he is living death. So again, we have some third-rate narrated, or third person narration of what's going on. And so we don't have any great narration. We just have a third person just kind of blurting out facts, blurting out what's going on. And it's just really kind of unusual, and well, not unusual. It's just kind of, I don't love it. I don't love it is what I'm saying, I guess. And it made it difficult to read. I was not into reading this. About halfway through, I was just like, oh, I've got to finish this. Because even though I do like the art, which I will get to in a minute, the writing just brings it down so much. The plot is very thin, which, as I've said before, a thin plot doesn't mean a bad comic book, but a thin plot with narration and dialogue that doesn't go anywhere, doesn't resonate with anything, doesn't actually isn't enjoyable to read, then why do it? Why read it? Why keep reading it if you're not enjoying it? And like I said, the plot is very thin, so it doesn't really make a lot of sense to keep reading it. So I was really kind of let down by the story, the plot, the art. I mean the dialogue. All of that, I was just really kind of disappointed, and I kind of thought it was going to be better. I hadn't read this before. I can't remember where I got it, but I got it from somewhere. I hadn't read it when I was younger, that's for sure. And I just didn't really, I didn't love the writing. That's for, you know, um, the art is pretty good. This Raf Inco as he's a good image type artist, as I've said. Even though I say they don't all have the same style, they have kind of an overarching. I don't know what you would, how you would describe it, as an energy first kind of story, kind of art with a lot less focus on the narration part of the story, less focus on telling the story, and more focused on having splash pages, splash panels, big panels that show the action, and that's really what they're into. One of the things that I really don't like about this art, and I can't say, like I said, I can't say it's bad. It's just something that I'm not enjoying very much as I look at it. Is that he's doing all this stuff, and these guys are smiling like they're going to lose some money. I guess maybe it's a joy for them to watch a really good basketball player. So I kind of understand that. But almost everybody has the same kind of expressions. It's either like a grimacing, grim expression, or a great big smile, and it's really unbelievable. The smiles, I guess, that's the thing. It's fine that they're smiling. They're just not believable, especially when it goes along with the story. It's really kind of touch and go as to why it is supposed to be entertaining when they're smiling, but they're not happy. Like, I'll read it. Man, did you see that? Who is that guy? Hey, you're Jordan Phillips. What's up, pro ball? Not paying enough? No, what's up, pro ball? Not paying you enough? So it really kind of the dialogue along with the art just doesn't mix at all. Perhaps if there was really good writing in here, I could overlook the art and the lack of narrated art as it's going, because it goes here. It goes here, 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 here. Why would you end a panel on the left hand side when your next panel is here? You want to have this one over here. So I think maybe you could have had, I don't know, you could have had this panel, the big panel, this panel, the smaller panel, and then these over here. And that would have made a lot more sense, and it would have been a lot more intriguing as far as narrative art goes. So there's a lot of stuff like that. Also, a lot of the lettering and the word balloons are either in the wrong place or incorrectly placed. I will show you an example here. Unfortunately, here, this here is you're supposed to read this. So you're starting from the left, right? But then you're going up. So why wouldn't you do it up and then down and then over? Why wouldn't you do it like that? This completely doesn't make any sense unless, let's see, with the help of underlings who could not fathom my intentions. In this time and land, I am nearly a god, but I do not feel like I belong here. I belong in a time that is not yet to come. All right, so you're supposed to read this, this, this. So you're going from right to left, which is crazy because that's not how we do it in the Western Hemisphere. We read from left to right. So if this was actually a Japanese manga, then perhaps that would have been okay. But this is completely wrong. I could say that about the lettering because it doesn't make any sense. I wouldn't say that about the art, just saying it's wrong. So there's quite a few examples of that happen in the book, and it really kind of makes an undesirable reading a little bit worse. So here we go. The characters, very generic. I do like this samurai character, the Genesaga. I do like him. I don't like him as a character. I do like the outfit, the uniform or whatever, the armor. I do like that. That's really cool. That could really be a lot of really cool. I don't love the cover here, but this armor and stuff could be a really cool illustration, but they just chose not to use it. I love these little strands of his uniform or his cloak or whatever. You could really go a lot of different places with that, and his helmet is really cool. But they don't really take to make use of it, which is really too bad. I'm not even going to look at these because they don't have anything to do with the storyline. And I mean, you've got all of these muscles. Doesn't matter if they're correct or not. They look cool. That's okay. And he's got a cool pose. That's all right, but it doesn't really make a lot of sense because this dinosaur is after him. He should be kind of scurrying away instead of, ready to fight it. But maybe he is ready to fight it. I don't know. I'm not sure. So anyway, Genesaga, Ancient Warrior. Um, I'm going to give this a 5. The art is pretty good. I like the details of the inking. I think whoever inked it, which I think is the same guy, Raf Inko, I think he's a much better inker than he is a penciler. I don't know. I say that, but he's trying to do a certain thing. He's trying to do that image house style, I guess. So I guess he does kind of succeed in that. I do like his inking, but it's not good enough to raise it up past something that I would want to get. As you guys know, a 7 is where I draw the line of, if I give it a 7, I would look for more of these in the dollar bin and I would bring them back and put them in my collection and enjoy them. But I would not. That's why it's getting a 5, because if it's not if it's not hitting that minimum threshold, because that is really a minimum threshold, the dollar bin. Like if it's a quarter bin, I'm still not spending a quarter on Genesaga 2, if there even is a Genesaga number 2. So it's really pretty low. It's really the writing and the plot and the dialogue and the narration that really kind of drags it down into a 5. I could probably give this a 6 or a 7 simply because of the art, but the art itself is nothing spectacular enough for me to do that. I do like the buildings and stuff. He's a professional artist, that's for sure. He's got some really nice things to his he's got some nice backgrounds. He's got some nice parts to his art. And so I'm not completely crapping on his art totally, but it doesn't do it enough for me to change my my review of the book. So I'm giving Genesaga, the Ancient Warrior, a 5. So if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, hitting the notification bell, and all of that cool stuff. This is the kind of stuff that I do. I review indie comics from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and beyond, and wherever, or anything that gives me kind of an artistic sense or feeling or anything like that, because I often do Marvel and DC as well. So I have over 350 videos. There might be a book in there that you could check out because there's a lot of indie comics out there, and hopefully I'm going for a long time. But even more than all of those, subscribe and follow and all of that cool stuff, I like to hear your comments. If you've read Genesaga and you really love it, please let me know why. Or if you hate it, or whatever, let me know why. I love to contact you guys and talk about comic books. That, like, this the main thing of my day is talking about comic books. I just love talking about comics. So anyway, thanks for watching, and we've got a lot of cool stuff coming up ahead, and please consider doing an Inktober from one of the prompts, and I will see you next time. And as always, keep on creating.